Almost a year ago now, Of Kings and Men was announced to be released on PC. The hype built around it was something of a spectacle, with a number of YouTubers, including me, and fans showing their excitement and eagerness to get our hands on a game like this. But a year on, why did it fail? The build up to the game was something else, to say the least. The first reveal trailers were magnificent, nothing short of a historical gamer's dream, with massive open world landscapes and RPG style like building with NPCs and player interactions, and building up your humble town to trading from city to city in a global scale epic, waging wars from one clan to another and bringing players into this immersive world. And no. Bringing on the 25th of August 2016 came something very different. Me personally playing the game first, I was pumped to get into it, but then there was something missing. Something that should have been there at the beginning, but a massive part of the game that I just didn't see. This was the epic. The thing that had been shown in all the trailers. The bit people were most excited about. It just wasn't there. Now, admittedly, the devs did say that the epic would be released a few weeks after the initial release of the game. So, for now, people were happy with playing the very typical medieval combat game modes like Team Deathmatch, skirmishes, and Capture the Flag, and so on. But when the time came, with the massive hype for the epic and a giant release on its way, nothing. Still nothing. I know countless people who made clans for this game in order to play the epic with them, but there was nothing there. Just a laggy map with a few markers that would move around every now and then. But that was it. No massive open world with NPC characters to do labour and hundreds of players to go to war against. Just a map. Unfortunately, this was the thing that sealed the deal for me. After that, it just went downhill in my opinion. Now, before I go on, I know many people will be saying, stop hating on this game, it's early access, it's undergoing improvement, so don't talk about it now. Well, unfortunately, it is a year on, and from the state the game is right now, unless the epic we are all waiting for comes tomorrow, I feel like the game is almost already lost. If the devs showed us the trailers of the battles we can play now, and that said that they will release the epic in a year or so after the game is fully released, that would have been fine. But the fact that the reveal trailer was a game that didn't exist upon release, this was the bit that really killed it off for the players. So yes, it is going to be worked on, just that doesn't excuse the state it's in now. Later on, we got some more things added. Better skill leveling up systems, more maps and game modes, and more servers for a wider audience. That was great. It showed the devs were still working here and improving it for the player base. And I think that if that was the game that it was supposed to be, I don't see it being a massive problem and getting so many bad reviews from the fans on Steam. But that wasn't the game. What we were playing was just a small game mode that was supposed to be a massive open world epic that we didn't have. That is why the reviews are down. So, talking about reviews, what does the community think? You've heard a lot about what I want to say about the game. My first two comments are from my good friends of mine, in which I contacted them in order for them to send me a paragraph about the reasons that they thought the epic got such bad reviews. This is a quote from Chris with a cube. I'd say it was quite disappointing to come back to the game and see empty servers with only bots. But I feel if they had not focused so hard on the epic, if they had showcased and put more effort into branching and smoothing their combat, the game as a whole would have been benefited greatly. If they had simply either gone all in the combat of the game or the epic, it could have worked. They simply showcased the game with the epic, and that's what brought a lot of the fan base. And it was a lack of that which drove the fan base away. And this is a quote from my friend Jon Snow. When I started playing Of Kings and Men, I thought it was an extraordinary game. We were able to make clans and have a lot of fun while playing in the melee. However, after a short while, when they promised the epic to come along, we were all hyped. However, once it came out, we were all disappointed as there was literally nothing we could do apart from look at a map. In my opinion, I feel like you should either have delayed the game or made sure the epic was going to be fully able to work, or just not release the epic. Both parties here are saying the very similar reasons, and it's all revolving around this game mode, the epic. The thing that was promised but not delivered. Chris talking about how either they should have completely focused on the multiplayer combat game modes we already have, or just focused on the epic and not both things at the same time, because as we can see, one thing suffered greatly. And John talking about the release into early access and how the game probably shouldn't have been released at all until they had something at least resembling what was in the trailers. Let's have a look at some of the reviews on the Steam page though. Now at the moment, the recent reviews are mostly negative, with mixed overall. And if you're wondering why mixed overall but mostly negative recently, this is because when it first came out, people knew the epic wouldn't be out straight away, so they were happy with what they got to start with. And I think actually when it came out, it was on one of the most popular games on Steam. It had extremely great reviews and people were loving it. It was only when this open world never actually came out that people started to realise the faults arising. Here is the voted most helpful review on the store page, so I'll use this as a standing point as the majority of the players have voted this as something they agree with. The No Man's Sky of EA. Overhyped, overpriced, false advertisement. Saying an idea that is yet to be released is downright criminal. Picture this. You see this cool video, open world MMO, peasants building, massive PvP, and then I tell you, yes, all this will be in the game in a few days. It's just 25 euros. You buy the game and after a few days you realise that you have been fooled. But since you have trained for your hard fight on the battlefield, there is no way getting a refund with your 20 plus hours, because you were training all this time basically for the epic and getting your skills up. How would that feel? Exactly, like you've just been completely effed over. Revitalizing the player base would be no easy task, as the trust between players and of Kings and Men devs is somewhat broken. Adding to that, the price tag is 25 euros. It's hefty considering the content. I suggest either making it free to play or giving us refunds, since this is not the product we bought almost a year ago. Obviously, the players are angry and something needs to be done if the devs have any chance of reviving this game. Unfortunately, we did see the departure of a number of the developers of Our Kings and Men a few months ago, which dug their hole even deeper, and getting out of it is going to be a hard task. Now, there are rumours actually going around that the developers say the epic is looking to be released in, quotes, some playable degree by September. Obviously, the use of some playable degree means it won't be fully done, but even if we do get some hint of the epic, at least it will bring players back, as they can see that the hard cash that they have put into this game has been put to use somewhere. So, bringing the game back up to the standard we all want and wish is not impossible. Events are still going on actually in Of Kings and Men. Granted, the servers are pretty much dead within the daytime, but every now and then, the servers will come alive with an event that is organised by the community, so hope isn't completely lost. But what can the devs do in the future to prevent this anger and downward spiral of their game? As a long-term historical game fan myself, and talking to other people, I have seen so many games going into early access and flunk from there. My biggest point is, do not promise something you cannot deliver straight away, or at least in some form or another. The epic didn't have to be amazing to start with, it could have been buggy as all hell, but I promise you there would have been a positive response from the community, as they would have realised it is being worked on and getting to a decent point. They would have seen that the epic is there, it's buggy as everything, but it is there. So when releasing into early access, it doesn't have to be perfect, there just actually needs to be a game there. So what do you think? This is just mine and a few others' opinions, but I would love to hear yours down below. I would urge you not to just dislike the video because you disagree with some of my points, but start a discussion in the comments on why you enjoy the game if you do, or your reasons why you think it has failed. If these rumours about the epic coming out at some point are true, I will definitely be keeping you updated. But until then, I will see you in the next one.